There are four parts to the CSS box model. There's the actual content itself, then there's the padding around that content, then comes a border, and then the margin. I'm going to be going over all four of these properties and how they work in the CSS box model and how you can use CSS code to change them yourself. So before we begin coding the CSS box model, I thought I'd show a quick illustration to better visualize how the CSS box model itself looks. So there's the content, padding, border, and then margin. So we'll open up a CodePen project, and I'll create a div with the ID content. We'll put a little header with content, and then close off the div. So now we have our div, and we'll give it a background of light blue. So now we have our content in a box, and we'll give it a width of, say, 200 pixels and a height of 100 pixels. And we'll just center it. So now we've got our content. It's a pretty basic div element, and this box itself is the content. It is the div element, and it is light blue with set a width of 200 pixels and a height of 100 pixels. So this is the size of the div element itself. So now that we have the content, we'll move on to the padding. So if we add a padding of 20 pixels, you can now see that the size of the actual div has grown 20 pixels in its height, top and then bottom 20 pixels both sides, and then 20 pixels to the left and 20 pixels to the right. So the size of the div element has actually expanded, but the content inside the div element is still where it was before. It hasn't changed. The box has changed, but that's because it has grown some padding to give it some room to breathe. So now we're going to add in a border. So we'll say border 5 pixels, solid, black. And now you can see that there's a border on the outside of the padding. It doesn't touch the original content because the padding is giving it room to breathe, and then the border surrounds the padding itself. If we remove the padding, then it will surround the content. But we'll keep the padding for now because we want a bit of room for it to breathe. The padding itself cannot be given a color, whereas because it adopts its original container's color, so the light blue is set to the padding. But with a border, we can set a size, a color, and a border type. So we can have solid, we can have dashed. But now the final part is margin. And to illustrate this, I'm going to create another div. So now you can see each div is on top of one another. But we don't want this, we want a bit of room. So what can we do? Maybe we could add some padding. No, that just changes the sizes of the actual div elements. So we can't change the height or width or the border because it just changes both of them, and it doesn't actually separate the two. But if we add in a margin, say top of 50 pixels, now you can see that there is space between the two boxes. This space will not adopt color, it will not jump onto the box, it just pushes an area around it. It's sort of similar to padding, but it doesn't adopt the characteristics of the actual content, it just creates spacing for objects. So that's just the simple basics of the CSS box model. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then give it a comment, and I'll see you in the next video.